Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
And I'm Joe.
and we're here to celebrate. Last week we celebrated our 150th episode. This one we're celebrating an anniversary. The movie we were covering officially turns 70 years old. It can retire. We're talking about Kurosawa's Rashomon from 1950. It's considered one of his best films. I have never seen it until now, so here we are. The version I watched, I don't know about you, Joe. The version I watched was the 2008 restoration.
Yeah,
It was on HBO Max.
I watched
So,
from the Criterion channel.
oh, okay. I doubt there's any differences. So yeah, so this movie is basically it's one of the shorter Kurosawa films. It's only like clock saying like 89 minutes. It
Mm-hmm.
has the classic people. Mifune is in it. Of course he's in it. Has Takashi Shimura, who was in, he's the woodcutter in this, and he was in Seven Samurai. Also, the priest was in
Mm-hmm.
Seven Samurai. So, but it starts with like the woodcutter and the priest in this rainy Rashomon gate. It's just raining all the time there, and they're like, this is awful. What happened was awful, and it just sets the tone for the whole
Mm-hmm.
movie of like this idea of like just it's gonna be a rough one for some characters. It's gonna be a tough trial, especially for the priest and the woodcutter.
And I think it also it's great symbolism that the rain kind of, in my opinion, it kind of symbolizes grief and everything after the fact. For those who don't know, this whole movie takes place kind of in flashback, and then you have flashback within flashbacks because we start with them, talking about the case, and then we flash back to the trial, and during the trial we get the stories where we flash back and play out the stories as they tell them.
Yes.
But yeah, I look at it as a this motif or a symbol of grief, because they're not just grieving for the dead, lamenting like how everybody lies.
The rain symbolizes to me the priest and his struggle with can you trust humanity? Like that
Mm-hmm.
inner turmoil of like these people are just lying. Can you even
Yeah,
trust man anymore? And once he's like, I can trust again, the rain clears up. Well, he doesn't fully trust certain characters, but he's like, I know you're not lying here, so rain stops. But it's told through four different perspectives of the trial. Basically, a samurai's wife is raped, and a samurai is murdered by a bandit, or was he? So yeah, the bandit is played by Mifune, and basically he's like, I saw this samurai's wife and I thought she was attractive and I fell in love. And he confronts him, he takes her, he kisses her. She likes the kiss. He defeats the samurai and he's like, I was impressed, but I was better. And he was basically joking the entire time of the entire
yeah.
investigation.
It was an honor duel between him and the samurai, is what he claims. That they're dueling for the woman to preserve her honor because she can't live in a world where two men know her dishonor, where she kissed another man and liked it, and he's basically portraying himself as, well, I did the honorable thing. I challenged him to a duel. We fought. Straight up, knowing what the risks were, and I was just better, and he died. I mean, it's obviously not my fault. That he's dead. I mean, otherwise he'd be here and I'd be dead.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
he's all rambunctious, and it ends up being like, so where's the dagger? It's like, I forgot the dagger. That's the one mistake I did I regret. I forgot the dagger to sell it. And then we get to the samurai's wife. She claims that the bandit raped her. she basically begged her husband, please don't shame me and stuff like that. And the samurai was very disappointed. And she had the dagger in her hand, and she fainted. And he ended up with the dagger in his chest. I don't know how that happened. And then she tried killing herself and failed. So apparently that's her story. That the bandit was more of a monster, like a beast. That's her perspective. Then you get to the samurai's perspective via the medium, which was creepy because the medium was like just
channeling.
Yeah, channeling.
Channeling the samurai.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's kind of a similar story in the beginning. She is raped by the bandit, but then she gets in this trance where she's like, "I'll do anything you say," and then he's like, "I'm not happy about that." No, she's like, okay, and the bandit's like, no, that's weird, man. You know, samurai, you gotta decide, you know, should she die or should she live? And she runs away, and he kind of lets the samurai go. And the samurai decides, I'm gonna kill myself in honor. Which was it was a cool transition when he stabs himself, and then we cut back to the medium, like, falling. It's a cool little transition there. And you see the woodcutter and the priest, like, in the background, like, what the hell is going on? And then we get to... The trial's kind of over. It's not over, but it's, like, kind of at recess. And the woodcutter's like, they're all lying. And then he tells his story, which is very different. He doesn't really say that the bandit raped her. She's just crying, and the bandit's like, I'll change my life. I will... stop being a bandit, I'll stop being a thief, I'll stop doing this if you just marry me. And it comes down to, she's like, you guys aren't real men. She's very maniacal looking at in this story. And then basically the samurai and the bandit have a duel, and it's one of the most embarrassing duels ever. I mean, they're tumbling, they're scared to death, both of them, and they're tumbling, they're trying to avoid touching each other. But they are trying to stay in the fight so they can seem like real men. And, I mean, it's very well choreographed for being a pathetic little fight. That basically, the bandit wins by luck. And then that's how the story ends for the woodcutter. But the woodcutter does leave one little detail out. Where's the dagger? And where the one guy's like calls him out, like, you're saying that these people are lying, but you're the one that made up a whole story. You're making up. How do I know this story's not made up for you to think, for me to think that the dagger wasn't stolen? It makes it so grandiose of like, oh, they were, you know, they were terrible fighting, and you had the wife in the background laughing maniacally and screaming. It's a little much. To where you think maybe he's just making it up so it distracts you from what happened to the dagger. And it makes the woodcutter look like a hypocrite. Even the priest is like, oh no, I'm done with this. You humans are just terrible. You can't tell the truth at all. Then they find a kid. The kid's crying, a baby's crying, and the woodcutter wants to keep the baby because he has 6 kids because he needs another one, I guess. So he wants the 7th kid, and the priest is like, you know what? This is the first time someone's been selfless, and it kind of gives him a new hope, new lease on like belief. And then the rain stops, and the guy walks with the baby, and that's it. I like this movie a lot, actually. It made me like it's one of those things. Like this is like probably the 5th Kurosawa film since starting the show that I've watched. It's not Seven Samurai, but it's probably the 2nd best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really inventive. I mean, I'm sure there have been stories, you know, that have multiple unreliable narrators. The first one, he really kind of puts it in a situation that works perfectly and plays off of it. Like, he just made the whole movie around it, and just kind of how honest people will get things wrong. So it's that adage that every side of the story has a little bit of truth, but the truth is somewhere in the middle. And he really gets to play with it, and with film, he's able to shoot kind of the same scenes, but alter it a little bit for each of the stories. And it's really playing with that idea of like what's shown in the lens is truth. Like, he's able to mess with it by having these people tell the stories just a little bit different, and he can shoot it differently, and you just don't know who to believe.
Yeah, I believe I didn't know this, but there is actually a term called the Rashomon effect. It's basically like the idea of the contradictory, unreliable narrator and a bunch of different narrations. Also, when you say that he films it differently, it's also a testament to the actors because they're kind of playing like Mifune is definitely playing. He's playing a scoundrel to an honorable man to a coward. To a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just he plays it so differently. It's also the wife does everything.
Not just be in character, but be a different version of that character. Because they're all different caricatures at the end of the day. Mifune portrays himself. He's a bandit, but like he did the honorable thing this time. Or another time where he's just straight up, bestial and just monstrous of a person. And then the other time it's just he's an incompetent bandit.
Yeah. I also love when Mifune, during like the woodcutter scene, there's little things he does that makes it so good. Like even little things like when he's holding the sword, he's shaking it.
Part of what makes Mifune so great outside of his facial expressions is just that physical thing that he always puts into every character. If you look at Seven Samurai, and then you look at other movies that he's done with Kurosawa, he completely embodies these different characters, and he puts these little ticks in there, and he'll like sway forth a lot, or like if you remember in Seven Samurai, he always had his shoulders were up. Like, it's just these little things that he does, and it differentiates each character from one another. And he's always terrific. It's not fair.
He's always one of the best parts of the movie. And it's one of those things, like, if you believe the woodcutter story, because the woodcutter has no reason to really lie except for the dagger, but like you start seeing the holes in all the other stories when you think about like overly sarcastic and very boisterous humor when he's telling his story. Like he's just kind of hiding his pride a little bit. Like his pride's a little bit like shattered a little bit. He's also like he's not with the woman he wants to be with. The wife kind of plays like the pitiful damsel in distress kind of thing, that she wants pity because she's the victim.
Yeah.
And the samurai, well, he's just trying to, keep some sort of honor in his death. He doesn't want to be like, I was accidentally murdered by a bandit we were fighting in fear. He wanted to be like, I took my own life because my honor was besmirched, and, I gotta take my own life and be honorable. I'm a samurai. I think that's, one of the core stories is like, just like, you can't trust anyone. What is the truth?
Each person tries to idealize themselves, and you'll find that a lot in like a lot of true crime shows where people are interrogating several witnesses that were at the scene. Pride, as you said, or like a vanity or an honor thing.
Yeah, vanity
that prevents them from admitting, the whole honest truth.
So, Joe, would you recommend Rashomon?
Of course. There's rarely been an easier question on the show than would you recommend Rashomon? Yes, it's one of the greatest movies of all time for a reason. It has a profound message in that, like, everybody's lying, to hide themselves. It's also Kurosawa, so it's shot extremely well. It's subtle and intimate.
Yes.
The way I would describe it. One of the great choices is when you're getting the stories from the witnesses. He's got the camera set up. They're looking not quite at the camera. They're looking just off camera. So it almost looks like they're avoiding your eye contact. Yeah, because they're all lying. It's said in the beginning that they're all lying, and none of them look directly into the camera. They just look just off a camera. And maybe there's moments of truth are when they look directly into the camera.
Oh my God, I gotta rewatch it. But that's a great point.
And it's just an easy watch for it, because a lot of people I think have trouble with foreign films due to either culture or the subtitles or whatever. But Akira Kurosawa movies are just so easy to watch.
I agree. I'll also highly recommend this one. It's also one of the easier ones because some people said the foreign film, a lot of people have issues with it. It's only 90 minutes. Like, because Seven Samurai is 3 hours. I understand you're like, I gotta make the time. It's 3 hours. This is a quick 90 minutes. Yeah, it's just so good. Like, everything about it is just so good. The performances, the camera work, the score it's there. It's not overdone. Definitely one of the best Kurosawa films I've ever seen. I haven't seen all of them, but so that's 2 recommends from us. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about Rashomon. Is it the best Kurosawa film? What's another Kurosawa film that's in the Criterion Collection that we have not done yet? Kurosawa did a lot of films there on the Criterion Collection, if you look at it. It's like he's one of the best directors ever. It's like that.
Yeah, it's almost like he's kind of talented or important,
Yeah.
Weird.
Share, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm Joe.
And we will see you later.